was out walking the dog at night. So it was after sundown, so darkened and sodium lit streets, and then these three voices coming right, like whispering in my ears next to me. Yeah, like 20 seconds in, I thought, yeah, this is lovely.
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. That's John over there. I am Andy, and we are here to discuss some music. John, what are you going to have me go off and listen to today, my friend?
So we've got a new band, newish anyway. They are called, I think I've mentioned the name to you before off camera, Folk Bitch Trio.
Oh, yeah, we've discussed lately not only your penchant for discovering some new bands of late, but these like female fronted or collectives of women in rock and roll or rock, rock music creating some pretty good and interesting stuff. And you had mentioned these folks when we were discussing that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking them out. What's
Yeah.
the name of the track?
Yeah, it's total accident. It just happens to be like three of the best albums I've listened to this year have all been all female, just the
Yeah,
way it goes. So
yeah.
yeah, so this slot, the track I'd like you to check out is called Cathode Ray.
Okay. Cathode Ray. Gotcha. All right. Well, interesting band name, interesting song title. Let me go off and give them a spin, and I'll come back and let you know what I think. Hmm. I'm liking both guitars, but that electric stuff is simple but really nice. I want to hear that again. Those little touches on the electric guitar are almost like the equivalent, the like musical equivalent or the auditory equivalent of like watching falling stars. It's just what it brings to mind. Acoustic, electric. Mm.
No cathode ray with a sweet release. I need a real view from a real cheap seat. Better late than dead on time. And once when you were
Ooh.
looking, I made you mine.
Ooh. And that bass comes in. Ah, yeah, lovely voice, lovely voices, I should say, really. There's this airy, sultry, little lower registered nature to the predominant voice in this track, and to hear the even airier, slightly higher accompanying vocals that harmonize with her. All of that is working together really well. And then at the end of what I guess is like that first verse or whatever, at least that opening stanza, there's this interesting little guitar motif that for a second almost sounds like a little snippet of Never Going Back by like Fleetwood Mac. It's got a very Lindsey Buckingham picking nature to it. It's super short-lived, but in that fleeting moment, that's what I was reminded of. Yeah, this sounds great thus far.
Down the exit aisle, coming out strange like I come off a long flight. We get home, get the scalpel out, and just for fun, you say, show me what it looks like when you come undone.
That electric guitar bit. Those harmonies are awesome.
Double feature after the show with a new procedure. You made me grow.
Dun, 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 dun.
Somewhere above, I walk a free man, so it can't be love. But everybody needs somebody to make their body come undone. Come
The lightest splashes on the cymbal. I really enjoyed that track. The vocals are beautiful. The sort of predominant, more forward main vocals, as well as those harmonies, they all work together really, really well. This less is more approach, without it sounding like rudimentary, but just really sounding like artfully strategic, I think is a great way to present and package this track. It allows those vocals to really shine. It also allows every little bit to shine as well. Like those little touches on the electric guitar were nothing much, but the way that they're presented and packaged in this song gives them, I don't know how or why, but it for some reason gives them more like heft or gravity. You hear every little bit of nuance, from fingers moving across fretboards and literal changes of chords. You can hear that all really clearly, and I don't know, it gives it this intimate feel, which the song already sounds quite intimate anyway, but the way it's produced and packaged makes you feel like you're almost in the room, which I think is wildly important to this song's success. It makes it all make sense, and it gives the subject matter more time to and clarity to resonate with the audience, so everything kind of, you can digest it easily, and it really lets you focus on each of those parts. I really enjoyed this track. I thought it was great. I thought their voices were beautiful. This is definitely a really good first listen. I'd love to hear more from these ladies and learn more about them. They've got a really interesting sound going on here. I love the way that acoustic and electric work together. I loved the drums. They weren't crazy or anything, but it was just really, they were really tastefully deployed throughout this. You could say the same for that little bit of bass work that we heard as well. And then that little bit at the end where they kind of had a pregnant pause in there and they come back almost completely a cappella. I mean, you hear there's one chord strum, I think, and then I think you hear again sort of that like movement on the fretboard, almost like this imperfection that wasn't meant to be caught, but I think is excellent that they kept it in there or even raised the levels on it, because it adds to that whole like you're a fly on the wall feeling that I got from this one. So yeah, this is all done really, really well, and some great voices and some interesting lyrics as well. We all need to like someone to help us come undone or something like that. It was interesting because I thought that they were going to land on the word, come, but they ended with come undone, which changes it all completely, does it not? That also might be indicative of my immature brain. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting, and it sounded kind of like woeful, or like they were lamenting something. So yeah, to get into the lyrics more and to learn more about the band, let's get back with John.
Rula Lenska is back. So you've listened to Folk Bitch Trio, Cathode Ray. Just what you thought.
This was a really interesting song. It was, I think, having, I don't know if I'm in the position to say this, but because I can only apply it to this one track and I can't really hold it up against their other stuff, but it seems to me that this is a really good introduction to this band. I loved the overall package. I thought another really clever part of the whole thing was how it was produced. With certain sounds coming in certain speakers, the clarity, the keep it simple, stupid kind of approach to it, the less is more approach to it as well, I thought really lent itself to being a great quality listen start to finish. The song offers and affords the listener room to ingest everything. It's not like a lot is being thrown at you at once. So it really washes over you in a very easy to digest fashion, which again really lends itself to a first listen. So it kicks off with this like shuffling chord progression on the acoustic guitar, and this is soon joined by these bright tinklings on the electric guitar. And I'd have to say that if the acoustic guitar was the night sky, that this electric guitar were falling stars in the distance cascading across it. The meat of the texture is the night sky of the acoustic guitar, and all these little accent pieces are these very interesting and well-timed electric guitar notes that I thought really sounded lovely. It already gives this sort of contemplative or introspective feel or mood to the music, does this sound, and we're only like in the first few seconds of the track. Then we get some lovely breathy vocalizing that joins around the 26-second mark or somewhere around there. And this continues until the singer opens the first verse with the titular line around the 50-second mark. And just before she made the move from vocalizing to singing proper, there is this nice little flick over the muted string of by the electric guitar that's so faint that you might overlook it or not even catch it. But for whatever reason, it popped out to me, and I really liked that sound. And this song is kind of filled with all of these blink and you'll miss it. I know that's a visual euphemism, but whatever they like, stop listening and then you won't hear it. But there are all these little touches in the background of like muted notes and even like the shuffling of fingers on fretboards, which is that intimate, imperfect yet perfect sound that we've often talked about when talking about the acoustic guitar. So now that we're getting some proper singing here, I think it bears noting how beautiful her voice is. And you can tell that there is probably plenty in the tank when it comes to her vocal power and range that aren't on display here. And nonetheless, or even in spite of that, she's really at home in this pocket that offers this sort of breathy and almost sultry, quality to her voice that I really enjoyed listening to as well. It sort of kept me hanging on her delivery. At the end of the first verse stanza, she and her co-vocalist deliver the line, and once when you weren't looking, I made you mine, which is a very interesting line. And in a similar way to how they work together to perform the vowel vocalization just before the first verse, they're sort of sounding similar here, delivering this line. Clearly, their harmony game is really strong, or at least it is on this track. It's shining, and I love the way that they're sort of sister voices in that they sound akin to one another, but there's enough of a difference between them that when they're working together, they create something larger than than each of the individual parts. Like the sum of the parts is more powerful. We get our first taste of percussions, or at least I think this is the first time I'm hearing percussions, as the drum strikes a slightly stuttered beat with plenty of room to breathe between each strike. And there's some, like, at times I'm catching resonant bass line in there as well that really adds this extra layer of oomph to the lower end of the song. I just mentioned the harmonies, and again, I need to echo that because the backup vocals during the second verse are terrific. They switch between these beautiful airy ahs to like parroting the lead vocals, and that gives the verse a richer texture and a bit more depth, and so it's all the better for it. They get to the end of the second verse where the line "you say, show me what it looks like when you come undone," and it appears right when they plateau on the word done. And the electric guitar picks this little motif, and this isn't the first time I heard it, but it definitely sounded the most like this to me. Um, it sounds a lot like that little picking that it comes and goes. So this similarity is but for a fleeting moment. But it reminds me of this song. I think I've mentioned it to you before. This song "Never Going Back" by Fleetwood Mac. That picking thing is very Lindsey Buckingham, and how it just picks through those notes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just to compliment that, I would say the very first bits of the electric guitar, which you mentioned about the sort of falling stars, immediately to me, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're
And
picking out some pretty great guitarists to
yeah,
compare.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess that's hats off to these young ladies or whoever is behind the guitar for sure. And it would appear that this come undone portion is the chorus. It's slightly more spacious than the verses and certainly allows for more of that terrific harmonization to shine. And during the third verse, the electric guitar really stood out to me, adding more of those faint sonic streaks across the soundscape. The notes almost sound a bit forlorn or even lonely, and lamenting the way they sort of come and go and fall like tears. So I think this guitar is really, especially the electric one, is really capturing the mood and the essence of this song. So not to go too overboard as we talk about Gilmore, Buckingham, and all this evocative mood work, but the guitarist deserves their roses for sure. After the chorus, we get a little taste of brief instrumental, this tiny little instrumental portion with guitar sustaining on some notes, accented by some light cymbals, like the faintest like splash, almost like if you're in the 15th floor of a condo that's beachside and the windows are down, but you can still hear the waves outside in like the distance muffled. That's how these splashes in the distance sound. And along with that same shuffling beat, then the vocals rejoin and we get the line, "Now you know me, beautiful and strange. Show me what you're made for," before the music cuts out briefly and then shifts back to one final chorus after that pregnant pause. and it's provided an almost completely a cappella way, save for like at the very beginning of it, there's a strum, and then there's some of that like I'm moving my hand on an acoustic guitar and it got picked up by a mic type sound, which again we love. So yeah, and the song comes to a close. So yeah, this was a really great first listen. Like I mentioned, that clearly these young ladies. I mean, let's just use that generic guys, but let's be specific here. These young ladies deserve their credit. I like the subdued tempo and pace of the song that really allowed for the vocals to shine, while also showcasing these subtle musical touches that still conveyed their mastery of songwriting. Um, the way that it was allowed to breathe, I think made the poignancy that much more effective. And it allowed it to hit and then resonate with you. Sometimes songs move so fast you're digesting two lines that came before where you are in that moment of the song because everything's coming at you faster. You're digesting what one instrument is doing while another one is competing for oxygen, and and that is fine, but that really lends itself to multiple listens so you can really understand where you land. This I could listen to once and know for sure exactly how I feel about every single bit and character and featured item in this song, which makes it that much more enjoyable for me. And yes, the way it was produced with one of the guitars in one can and the other coming through the other, and them kind of complementing each other because they were vastly different. It's not like two guitars playing a very similar motif. It's one's acoustic, one's electric, one's strumming through chords, one's doing these single or double note cascade sounds. All of it really worked together. Harmonies were impeccable. Yeah, I really, really liked this one. This might be my favorite of these newer bands that you've given to me of late, John, whether it be a male fronted or female fronted or no, however they're constituted, it doesn't matter. This song really hit well with me, and it has all that kind of like woeful, you know, um, introspective, contemplative stuff that I find very evocative when listening to music. So yeah, checked a lot of boxes for me over here. It did.
Yeah, I had a suspicion that of the sort of newish stuff that you probably like this the most. Fair enough. There's not a lot about them. They are new in terms of output anyway, on very little. So I shall crack through what I've managed to glean.
Please
But
do.
yeah, my two pound. I don't know even why I picked this up, but there's another one which I picked up like as it got released, and that's the other there. And immediate listen to it was out. It was actually digitally. It was out walking the dog at night. So it was after sundown, so darkened and sodium lit streets, and then these three voices coming right, like whispering in my ears next to me. Yeah, like 20 seconds in, I thought, yeah, this is lovely. And yeah, it really is. And this song in particular, I think became my favorite song off the album. At that point, when you said, while you weren't looking, I made you mine. That bit there, just yeah, it sealed the deal for me. But anyway,
Yeah, great line.
hey, it is. So, formed in Melbourne, Australia in 2020. I believe they're all at school together. They're all in their early 20s at this point in time. Uh, they're described as folk rock, indie rock. So they are Gracie Sinclair, Jeannie Pilkington, and Heidi Peverell. They released their debut single, Headlights, in 2020. And then they did very small releasing just odd songs in 22, 23, and 24 before signing to the Jaguar record label in 2025, which has broken other sort of bands that are of this ilk as well.
Yeah, we discussed Jaguar before, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have pretty good taste in who they sign, so I trust their
exactly.
judgment.
So this track is a single from their debut album, Now Would Be a Good Time, released on the 25th of July, 2025. So again,
Yeah.
what, 8 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, a couple
Whatever
months.
this hits, but yeah. So the album credits are not extensive. Um, there's not a lot online about the album either. So I got this actually from the inner sleeve. All acoustic and electric guitars, folk bitch trio, and Tom Healy. Drums by Chris O'Connor and Alex Freer, and strings by Anita Clark. That's a lot. I would say throughout the album, the use of percussion is really sparing. Drums and percussion really spare, which is great. You know, they do what they need to, and that's about it. The album itself reached number 19 in their native Australian mainstream charts and number 49 in the UK indie album charts. I think this band could go quite big if they got the exposure, because I think it's an incredibly accessible sound as well.
Yeah.
It's just got enough to it. It's interesting. I'll read out some reviews. And you know, they sort of put it with the title as well, Folk Bitch Trio. But this folk music has this, it comes with certain baggage, folk music, traditional, and protest and quite earnest. And they don't tend to go down that line. Very interesting lyrics, and their approach. And as you say, their harmonies are just absolutely amazing. So the NME gave it 5 out of 5. And they said, the members of Folk Bitch Trio are not blood related, but you'd never know on the basis of their magnificent 3-part harmonies, which have a richness and complexity typically only heard from bands that literally share DNA.
That's pretty funny considering I said they're sister voices, and yeah, that opening line there, that's great. And it's true. It's an accurate observation.
Heavenly Brothers, something like that. Oh, amazing. The record is sprinkled with strangeness. Its dark atmosphere elevating Folk Bitch Trio above a lot of their indie folk peers. This is one of those debut records so accomplished that it's as if it's just fallen out of the ether, fully formed. By blending melody, harmony, and palpable atmosphere, Folk Bitch Trio have created a masterful debut that lingers long after the final notes ring out. Far Out magazine gave it 4.5 out of 5 and named it Album of the Week. And they said, who really cares about the genres involved or any level of categorization when now would be a good time? Is this beautiful? It's beautiful in a way you can never get bored of. It's packed with lyrics that stay impactful listen after listen, and their melodies are at once both so intriguing and so timeless that it manages to be exciting and natural, sweeping you up but never letting you get bored. In short, it's gorgeous. All 10 tracks, gorgeous. So they liked it. Everything is the Noise. Our website said the impeccable use of close harmonies across the album is a standout feature of Allure. Every member of the band provides their own distinctive character of voice, each one enjoyable in and of itself, made easier thanks to the mixing that renders each set of pipes discernible. But when they're combined, they are just phenomenal. The trio's tightly knit vocal prowess is smeared across the album's entirety, shimmering amongst the instrumentation while also stealing the spotlight many a time. And Joyzy magazine, website, whatever, said Folk Bitch Trio are a group of high school friends from Australia who started singing together in 2020. Oh, this is interesting. I don't remember why I put this in now. Releasing a handful of singles since then and touring globally with, amongst others, King Gizzard. They described their decision to record to tape rather than digital as being integral to creating this record, and it shows, creating crisp, warm and clear vocals. So that's interesting. They did it analog.
Yeah.
The understated music allows a listener to focus on the lyrics, giving space for the songs to breathe. Their music invokes feelings of dislocation and loss, using dark humor to explore the relationships ending, being on the road, and being young and alive in these fractured times. The songs have a tension within them as if they are teetering on the edge of falling apart, like the subjects being described in them, but holding it together, finding strength and humor in the situations. And there's a couple of songs that really applies. It's fantastic. This is a real sort of, I don't know, it feels kind of a late night smoky sort of song as well. There's this huge atmosphere to it. Lyrics. No cathode ray with a sweet release. I need a real view from a real cheap seat. Better late than dead on time. And once when you were looking, once when you weren't looking, I made you mine. Down the exit aisle, coming out strange. like I've come off a long flight. We get home, get the scalpel out, and just for fun, you say, "Show me what it looks like when you come undone. Come, come, come undone."
Thought that was a little
Only
interesting
child.
stanza of lyrics too. The whole like getting the scalpel out, and then it was
Yeah.
like, ooh,
um, Only child out for the night. My only desire is the fright of my life. Double feature after the show. With the new procedure, he made me glow. Below, so above. I walk a free man, so it can't be love. But everybody needs somebody to make their body come undone. Come undone, come undone, come undone, come undone. Now you know me, beautiful and strange. Show me what you're made for. Come undone, come undone. So Gracie Sinclair said this was the last song on the record to get finished. It's about frustration in a relationship, and when you love someone and you feel like you just can't get through to them, and you really want to, and you want to see them come undone. So there you go. Just to clarify, cathode rays are streams of electrons observed in discharge tubes. If an evacuated gas tube is equipped with 2 electrodes and a voltage is applied, the glass behind the positive electrode is observed to glow due to electrons emitted from the cathode. They were first observed in 1859 by German physicists Julius Plucker and Johann Wilhelm Hittorf, and were named in 1876 by Eugene Goldstein as the Cathodenstrahlen, or cathode rays. In 1897, British physicist J.J. Thomson showed that cathode rays were composed of previously unknown negative charged particles, which were later named the electron. Cathode ray tubes, CRTs, use a focus beam of electrons deflected by electric or magnetic field to render an image on the screen, or what we would call the telly. So there you go.
that's pretty cool.
I couldn't use the official video because of but it's worth checking it out. It's them in an apartment arsing around, and there's sort of the camera and stuff, and the cover of the album is a still from the video.
Okay.
And you get a certain sense of personality from the three of them, particularly the dark-haired one. Yeah, comes across as quite funny and knowing. So it's really worth watching. It's great. So yeah, that's as much as I got on them. I'm sure they're busy ladies, but
Yeah.
if you come across this and you got more info, Folk Bitch Trio, please drop us a line. But yeah, I really, really like this album. I think it's a sort of breath of fresh air in terms of the folk, the way they've approached things. As you say, the production is outstanding.
Yes.
For a song to just instantly make me think of, David Gilmour or Pink Floyd, he's going to be high up there on production values,
Definitely.
And yeah, the way that they've constructed the songs, as you said, a lot of the songs are done really simply, but that is to the benefit of the songs, and it showcases all the things, and their harmonies are just to die for. Really
Precisely.
great, really great.
Completely agree with you.
So that being said, I should wrap things up. Thanks for listening to Sandy.
Thank you.
Folks out there, tell us what you think. Please hit the like button if you do like this. Hit it 3 times. Imagine your harmonies. That would just be like unlike again, wouldn't it? Yeah, but anyway. And please drop a comment and tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you about Folk Bitch Trio. Perhaps you guys have heard a bit more than this album from them. There's a few singles, and obviously they've been touring, so perhaps someone caught them. Please let us know what you think. Love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We are now past the 2,000 mark. The frame certificate is in the post, apparently. But we really do appreciate everybody who does support the channel. So hop on board. We'd love to have you involved. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.